most dominant players in Tennessee Titans history revealed today he's been diagnosed with ALS. Chris Johnson made that announcement this morning. Over the weekend, Titans mysteriously posted a 6-minute highlight video of Johnson, leading NFL fans to wonder about the timing of the post. Johnson ran for more than 9,000 yards during 10 seasons in the NFL. Nearly 8,000 of those came while wearing a Titans jersey. Titans released a statement this morning saying, quote, "Some people leave a mark on an organization you just can't put into words." Chris Johnson's one of those people for us. His leadership on the field, in addition to his impact in the locker room and Nashville community, has written him permanently into the story of this franchise.